All right, so I'm going to end this test prep right now. 14, I started with the other video and didn't quite end. With 14, we found that x is equal to 2. 0 doesn't work. We could also test to see if 2 gives me a maximum. So if I plug in positive 1, that gives me a positive. If I plug in 3 into the derivative, 54, what is that? 3. So I'm not even thinking 3. That's 30. So it's 54. 3, 9 times 9, 81. So yeah, it's negative. So you can see it's a maximum. But that doesn't answer the question. It says, what's the area? So where there's an x, I'm going to put in 2. So I go back to the area equation. I could also use this one too. Both would give you the same answer. This one's probably easier, the second one. And I just did a 2. So this is 4 times 9, that's 36. 8 times 3, that's 24. So what's the max area? And the answer is 12. This would have gave you the same answer, by the way. This is 6 take away 4, 2 times 6, which is 12. So either one gives you the answer 12. All right, 2 more to do. Then I'll give you a little advice. So a rectangular garden of 128 feet squared is to be fenced to protect against wild boars. Find the dimensions of the garden that will require the least amount of fencing if one side of the garden is protected and up against the side of a house. So here's my garden. This is up against the side of the house. There's the house. There's my dimensions. I don't know x or y. I know the area is 128, and the area of that rectangle is still x times y. The perimeter, which is going to be my primary, because it has to do with fencing, which has to do with perimeter, is 2x plus y. If I get y by itself, I divide by x. Then I go back to the primary, and where there's a y, I put in 128 over x. In order for me to do the calculus I need, I'm going to write this as 2x plus 128x to the negative 1. So I'm not going to write it as a fraction. This denominator can be written with a negative exponent. Then I'm going to take the derivative. So the derivative of 2x is 2. The derivative of this is negative 1 times that, which is negative 128, and then subtract 1 to the exponent. We're going to make it equal to 0, and we're going to solve it. So I'm going to subtract 2. I'm going to write x to the negative 2 back as a fraction. And I'm going to divide. So let's do that one at a time. So divide by negative 128. That means I'll write it here. X to the negative 2. A negative divided by a negative, positive. Reduce it down. So 2 goes into 128. 40, 64. So it's 1 over 64. Write this as a fraction. Notice the numerators are the same, so I can make the denominators equal to each other. I'm not going to write in negative 8, because you can't have a negative length for your chain fencing that you need. So the question again is find the dimensions of the garden. So one dimension, x, is 8. What do I still need to find is y. This is what y equals. So 128 divided by 8 I think that goes in evenly. It does. 16. And there you go. So what are the dimensions of it? It's 8 feet by 16 feet to maximize area. All right, last one. 16. Let that function, f at x equals 8x squared minus bx, be a polynomial that has a relative minimum at that number. So solve for a and b. So I have a point. So where there's an x, I'm going to plug in 1. And the y value is going to be negative 4. I'm going to simplify it. So negative 4 equals 1 squared times a negative b times 1. So we have 1. We're also going to take the derivative. So I get 2ax minus b, take the derivative, power rule. A and b are constants. Make it equal to 0 because it's a relative minimum. Again, I'm going to plug in, this time I only need the x value. So x is 1, so I'm going to plug in 1. I don't need the y value in this case, so just the x coordinate after you take the derivative. Simplify it, 2a times 1 and negative b, and that's equal to 0. We're going to solve for a and b. The easiest thing here to do is subtract. So negative 4 subtract 0 is negative 4. 1 subtract 2 is negative 1a, and then the negative b's would cross out. Divide by negative 1, and a is equal to 4. To find b, you can go into any of the equations. I'll just go into here. So now that you know what a equals, solve for b. I'm going to add b to the other side so you can see b equals 8. So when a equals 4 and b equals 8, that function there has a relative minimum of 1, negative 4. So what did I do again? I first substituted x and y in to begin with, got an equation, took the derivative equal to 0, because that's how you find a relative minimum, used only the x coordinate, second equation. Now I have a little system, and I subtracted to eliminate the b, got what a equaled, go back and get what b equals, and then you're done. All right, so those are the questions to help you do well in the test. So happy studying. Oh, my advice, I'm going to put a blank test prep sheet that you can print out, and I think you need to go over the questions a second time. Every question that is on this packet will be on your test, everyone. So I really think you should print out a blank one and go over it a second time. If you're exciting, you could do it a third time, but at least a second time from scratch. And you do it whatever pace you need to go at, so it's not too fast for you. All right, I wish you the best luck on the test that you take, okay? Bye. Mr. G Math, over now.